Morning, folks. The trail update here. Saturday, October 26th. Unitic here. It's been a while since I've recorded a video, and lots happened in the last 3 or 4 weeks. I think the last video I posted that's up and available of me just talking to you is from back in New York when I recorded the one entitled Lyme Truth, Why a Whistleblower. I hope you got a chance to see that. And a lot's happened since then. So I'm going to do a video here just trying to catch you up. I'm in Northern Virginia now, and I'm approaching Shenandoah National Forest. I'll cross into the national park here in just a few hours. Really excited about that. Beautiful fall day. Really cold this morning. Last couple of mornings got down below freezing. So it's a new chapter in the adventure. First half of the trail, I'm about 1,216 miles into it right now. And first half of the trail is definitely the harder from a terrain standpoint, with the Maine mountains and the White Mountains in New Hampshire, and Vermont's pretty tough too. Oh my gosh, the rocks of Pennsylvania, they call it Rocksylvania, where shoes go to die, or all they're cracked up to be. Feet took a beating in Pennsylvania. It's over 230 miles of trail there, and little needle rocks, big boulder fields, very little dirt you're ever walking on, which I'm walking on right now. I'm thrilled that the trail is a little more tame, still big mountains to come, but it's not so hard on the feet, and I can actually record videos and look up from the trail from time to time without risking an accident. Got the Shenandoahs, the Virginia Highlands down around Mount Rogers. I've got the Smokies, obviously, the Roan Mountain Highlands in Tennessee and North Carolina border, the Smokies, some pretty Nantahalas, pretty big mountains to come, but they're not quite as rocky and rugged as what I've gone through. So now the bigger challenge will obviously be weather. As I get into winter, it's going to be harder to do the daily things. Like right now, just speaking, my jaw's a little bit frozen, my fingers are a little bit frozen. Trying to keep your water from freezing, trying to get your stove lit. It takes more fuel to heat colder water. Just getting up and doing your daily chores in the morning, setting up and breaking down camp, it's a bit more challenging, and obviously losing daylight too. Really isn't light enough to hit the trail, because I'm not much into night hiking, although I've done it a few times. 7:15 is probably about as early as I can get on the trail, and trying to get to camp, start getting set up between 5:30 and 6 to make sure I'm pretty well set up before darkness hits. So let me catch up on a few things from the last several weeks. In New York, I ran into my old friend Floss. Floss and I had met in Stratton, Maine, and got to know each other for less than 24 hours, and really hit it off. He's a Spanish teacher from Austin, Texas, and we met again in Andover, Maine when I was injured, and recorded that video, A Crucial Message from Logan. And I thought I probably wouldn't see him again because I was stuck there for 3 days and thought he was way ahead of me, but just north of Greenwood, New York, we ran into each other again. Two guys that have known each other at that point for less than 24 hours, and here we are at dusk, hugging and slapping backs on the trail. We wound up hiking together for the rest of New York and all of New Jersey and most of Pennsylvania, and had a great time. Really enjoyed Floss. Unfortunately, he needed to get off the trail a few days ago, just past the halfway point. So without my trail partner again. Also had to say goodbye to a new friend, Koozie, from Boston, Mass. The short stretch of trail where Floss and I had to separate in Pennsylvania because I had some Lyme related things to do. I met Koozie and we hiked together. We're about the same age for several days, and we rode together with Trail Angel Mary, this lovely person from Duncannon, Pennsylvania, who gave us a ride up to Shippensburg University so I could present at the ALDA conference on tick-borne diseases. And that was really cool. Koozie had to get back to school. He's a teacher at UMass, and so he, just a couple of days ago, had to end his hike too. So kind of in addition to cold weather and winter, the other newer challenge is it gets a little lonelier out here the second half of this southbound hike. All the northbounders have passed through. The southbounders are getting fewer and farther between, and they're getting kind of scattered out. So I see some weekenders and what we would call section hikers from time to time, but most of my days are spent by myself, other than the times I get to meet some amazing trail angels and Lyme advocates. So let me tell you a little bit about some of the folks I've met. I'll start with Pennsylvania, and I met and was fortunate enough to stay a few nights with this amazing family, the Burge family, Joy and Alan, veteran Lyme advocates who hosted me for 3 days, fed me, encouraged me, doctored me a little. Had a toe problem there that has since gotten better. Just amazing folks, and then they've taken it upon themselves to spread the word about this hike, and they have such a great network of Lyme warriors that they've met through the years and worked with. Really encourage you to watch a YouTube video of Joy Burge testifying a few years ago at the Pennsylvania House of Representatives when they were trying to pass a bill to mandate insurance coverage and treatment for chronic Lyme patients. Passed the House, unfortunately got gutted in the Senate, and didn't do the good that it could have done for all those hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people suffering with chronic Lyme in Pennsylvania. So Joy and Alan, thank you. I also got to meet Melissa and Mark Colucci a little bit later in Pennsylvania. Took me out to dinner. Melissa's sending me a care package. Both of them have had Lyme. Mark has for the most part recovered after a bout that probably was a couple of years, and Melissa unfortunately is still dealing with it. Hers is the classic story I'll tell more about in a later video. She's given me permission to tell her story. Classic in the sense that I have heard similar stories so many times from so many states that it just moves beyond the possibility of coincidence. And the story is chronic misdiagnosis, honestly, disrespect and belittlement from the medical community, doctor after doctor, thousands of dollars going to what supposedly are the best diagnostic institutions around who refuse to consider Lyme. And ultimately, after years of struggle, she is diagnosed, she gets a positive lab test, and by that time that infection has had the opportunity to attack all parts of her body, and she's developed multiple sclerosis, which is entirely possible, if not common, in undiagnosed and untreated Lyme disease. So she literally has multiple sclerosis now and has to be treated for it, as well as trying to battle the infection that still is present in her body. Amazing courage there, the Colucci family, the Burge family. And let me go back and recognize Bruce and Bambi Albert. Bambi's the Lyme warrior that I connected with via Facebook well before I started the hike, and she basically started the ball rolling to start making some of these Pennsylvania connections. Got a newspaper reporter to cover the hike there in Wind Gap, Pennsylvania. Wow, thank you, Bambi. So, Pennsylvania was a long hike. It was great to reconnect with old friends like Floss and Koozie and make a lot of new ones. Actually did some tick removal surgery for a caretaker at a hostel in southern Pennsylvania who had had Lyme twice. And just the day before, the day I got there, earlier in the day, had tried to remove a deer tick from her arm, and unfortunately had left the head embedded. So we were able to get that out and encourage her to get to a clinic ASAP, be your own advocate, and get adequate treatment while that bacteria was still in her bloodstream and not spreading throughout her body. Adequate meaning a minimum of 4 weeks of doxycycline. If you want to know more about why that's a minimum, watch that video called Lyme Truth, Why a Whistleblower. So, thanks to those Lyme warriors, I was able to meet Kelly and Rob and Marcia in Harper's Ferry just a few days ago, who are all advocates in the West Virginia and Maryland area. And they took me out to lunch and took me shopping to resupply, and we just had great conversations. Some great ideas came about. Rob came up with a great idea that hopefully by the time you see this video we'll have taken action on, to continue to try and use this hike to connect with advocates in hopefully all or most of the 14 states the AT passes through. And particularly now that I'm in the southern, or entering the southern part of the trail, you know, Virginia is overrun with Lyme disease, but North Carolina, Tennessee, and Georgia all still labor under the same illusion that Kentucky does, that Lyme's almost quote unquote unheard of there. Verbatim what came out of my doctor's mouth, as well as the public health officials in our state capital that I was fortunate enough to meet with and at least open a dialogue with. That later resulted in a front page story in the Louisville Courier-Journal called Lyme Underreported in Kentucky, which is an understatement. So, thanks to Kelly and Rob and Marcia, it was great to meet you guys, and I really hope I get to meet some more Lyme advocates in Virginia and the succeeding states. I'm excited to say my friend Matt, whose mom is a member of our Kentuckiana Lyme support group, is hosting me to come present on November 12th to his outdoor club at Virginia Tech University in Blacksburg, Virginia. I'll be in central Virginia by then, and he's been kind enough to get arrangements to come pick me up, bring me to the university, present that evening, and then have a night off the trail, clean up, resupply, and then they'll deliver me back on the next day, the 13th. I'd love to do more presentations like that, like I did at Alda. If you haven't seen it yet, my friend Kevin is uploading the video from my presentation at the American Long Distance Hikers Association. And it may not be the best video quality in the world, but I think the audio's good, and it was an extremely good, a good interaction with about 35 veteran hikers, many of which have had tick-borne diseases or are dealing with them right then and there. And just an FYI, if you watch the lecture videos, at the beginning of that lecture I showed my Intro to Lyme, Journey Through Lyme intro video, recorded last February, and then I showed the video entitled A Crucial Message from Logan, recorded in Andover. So if you watch those two first, the rest of the lecture will make a lot more sense. So, I'm trying to think, and recently I had a joyful reunion with two dear friends that I met and hiked with in Maine, Ethan and Katie Bean, also known as Not Yet and Billy. And they were great enough to reach out to me, and trail serendipity being what it is, they were coming to visit friends in Harper's Ferry the day I hiked in to the ATC headquarters to sign in as the 153rd southbound AT through hiker to pass that unofficial halfway mark this season. I think last year a total of 73 southbounders completed the whole trail. And I intend to be one of those people this year. I'm sorry to see some friends get off the trail, but I understand they're very valid reasons, but I'm more determined than ever to finish this hike because I think more good things for the Lyme community are possible with more relationships like those I've just mentioned. So Not Yet and Billy, oh my gosh, was it great to see you. And they introduced me to some more trail angels, the Wheaton family. Scott and Marie, former caretakers at Bear's Den Hostel, this amazing Appalachian Trail hostel. Both former through hikers. Scott in '99 and 2005, and Scott and Marie together in 2005, a couple years after they were married. And their three children. They put me up for 2 nights. Again, fed me, just welcomed me into their home. Just a really amazing family. I had so much fun there. And it was so great to reconnect with some new lifelong friends. I'm sure Ethan and Katie and I will stay in touch, and I feel certain all the people I've mentioned on this video will be connected for years to come. And I'm looking forward to connecting with all of them and growing our friendships, and in many cases doing some great advocacy work together for this Lyme disease epidemic. So I'm coming up on about 900 miles left next week. I'll hit that mark, about 9 weeks left. Just need to average about 100 miles a week. And I've been averaging well more than that here in recent weeks in some pretty tough terrain. So I feel confident if I'm meant to finish this hike, I will. I want to thank everybody who has sent supportive messages, care packages. You know, my friends back in Louisville, Bob and Patty Hardy, dear friends who drove all the way up from Louisville, put me up in a hotel for 2 nights. And good morning. Just recording a video here, that's why I'm talking to myself. Put me up for 2 nights in a hotel, wouldn't let me spend a dime on food, and fed me, treated me royally, helped me wash my down quilt, and spent 2 days in a laundromat trying to get it dry, and brought me gear. Just can't say enough about friends like that. And obviously my buddy Keith. I have my Lyme Warrior shirt on underneath this other shirt, but it's extra cold this morning, so I'm covered up for the moment. But you'll see in my photograph from Harper's Ferry, my official halfway photograph, I'm sporting it. I'm going to stop here as I wrap this video up because it's getting rocky again. Still aren't done with them. Kevin, who continues to upload these videos, you know, and his wife Joan, thank you. Keith and Laura. And lastly, my buddy David. This trip just literally would not happen if my buddy David hadn't thrown his backing in 110%. He's facing a challenge with his own health, one that's challenged him before, and he came through with it. And I want to ask everybody that watches this to send good energy to my buddy David. I'm looking forward to seeing my backpacking crew. A great bunch, too numerous to mention, but they're all going to meet me down in Hot Springs on December 7th, and we're going to hike a few days together as we have been doing every year in the fall. And I'll be entering the last few weeks of this trek then. So I'm going to wrap this video up now, but my next video, as I mentioned in a Facebook post, and you can follow me on Facebook, under Logan McCulloch, MCCULLOCH, and Kentuckiana Lyme Support is also tracking my Facebook posts typically there. I'm going to do a video on anger and chronic illness because I think it's an important topic, and one I've dealt with and am dealing with out here on the trail every day. 10 hours a day walking by yourself, you can't hide from your own thoughts, and it becomes pretty clear what kind of repetitive thoughts are pecking at you all day, every day, some of which definitely don't help you in your healing. But more about that later. For now, this is Unitic signing off from Northern Virginia. Thanks for watching.